Hey everybody, this is Dan for GemmyD on Cars. This is a fantastic, beautiful weather day here in November in central Pennsylvania. And behind me, we're doing a review today of something that I have been dying to get my hands on, the new 992 generation Porsche 911. This is a pretty much brand new 2022 Porsche 911 GTS Cabriolet. Now this is essentially the Goldilocks 911 of the range. Now going over the Porsche website, there is like 21 different types of models of 911 that you can have, and this is about the sweet spot in the middle. It sort of bridges the gap between the Carrera and the Carrera S, and then on the other end the GT3. Now this is like a perfect amalgamation of stuff from Porsche. It has the brakes from the Turbo S, it has the same 3-liter flat 6 engine rear mounted back there. This has 473 horsepower, 420 foot-pounds of torque. It has the PDK 8-speed automatic transmission, which is pretty much the best automatic transmission in the world, the dual clutch. It'll go 0 to 60 in like under 3 seconds. I mean, you're getting into something where you don't have to spend crazy money on a turbo and a Turbo S, but it still has the pretty much all-out performance of a GT3. It's really the Goldilocks of the Porsche 911 range. The owner of this car has told me all about it. He said it's pretty much one of the best cars he's ever owned, and I'm so excited to get to poke through this thing. So let's talk about the 911 GTS Cabriolet. Is the I'm going to call it the GTS. I'm not going to call it the 911 GTS Cabriolet every time. So the GTS is pretty much the Goldilocks of the range, like I've said. Now this is finished in the white, but a couple things about the GTS. The GTS has black trim everywhere. It comes standard with the black rims, and also these are center lock rims. That is the first Porsche that non-turbo that has these center lock rims. That's mostly a thing for race cars. You know, it doesn't have your typical lug nuts going around. It takes a special tool just to get a hold of that and take it off. But these are the brakes from the 911 Turbo, which we all know the 911 Turbo is essentially on the Mount Rushmore of German cars. But just look how big these brakes are. These are absolutely huge. You got the nice, huge red calipers. There is your black GTS script. Now the GTS also has the black headlight surrounds, and there are your LEDs right there, the 4 little logos that Porsche does for their daytime running lamps. Now the GTS now for 22 does have the stripe going down the middle, and it does have these stripes going up the soft top right there as well. And we'll get this soft top down in a little bit, but let's just take this in and just marvel that this is pretty much a perfect grand touring sports car that also has the track capabilities. Now there, the black trim up there is another GTS thing right there, plus the front end right there. Now this car does have the front end lift because it is lowered by about ½ an inch from the Porsche Carrera 911, and the owner of this car said that's the greatest feature ever because you can program up to 150 spots on the GPS. So when he gets to his driveway at home, you hit a button, the car goes up. When you go into the garage, it goes back down. The car knows where you are on this globe, and it'll raise and lower the front end lift because probably pretty expensive to fix that right there. Now moving around the side, let's just look at the side profile of the 911. Now I think the Cabriolet doesn't take anything away from the shape, the iconic shape of a Porsche 911. It just looks really good. But yeah, moving around back, there's your same wheels and rims and tires. Now the Porsche logo back here is blacked out as part of the trim in the GTS, and same with the taillights. They are sort of blacked out, sort of smoke look, if you will. Now one thing that I did learn today, these slats on the back fender over here, over the engine cover, this generation of 911 is called a 992, and there are 9 slats, and 2. So 992 is the model generation or designation, and that is it. So that is your third brake light right there. That is sort of a first, but I think it is very classy. Now, I don't know if, I guess the owner just didn't get the 911 GTS script on the back there. Maybe he just didn't care for that. Now there's the exhaust right there. Now let's see what this thing sounds like. pretty good. Now Porsches, you know, have been known to maybe not sound the greatest. I mean, it is a 6-cylinder engine, lots of V8s and V12s of your competitors. Might sound a little bit better, but that doesn't take anything away from this car. So just look how much those hips just sort of jut out right there. It's just a beautiful car. 100%, 10 out of 10, the design for this car. I know they're getting bigger and bigger with each generation. It's not a small car, I will say that. Let's put the top down and see what that looks like. Now, before I go in to put the top down, I want to talk a little bit about the competitors. Now, this car and any other car in the class is not cheap. This car with options is almost $170,000, which is surely a lot of money. But if you wanted something that is similar performance like this from McLaren and Porsche and Lamborghini, that price of those are up in the $250,000, $300,000, $350,000 range. I think a new Huracan Technica is about $300,000, and I know a similar F8 Tributo Ferrari is, I will say, over $300,000. So you're getting a car that looks just as good, doesn't have the Italian or English flair that those other cars have, but this is just surgical and precision and its execution for, let's say, over $100,000 less. And in that token, it'll be just as fast as the other competitors, and you might, you know, you could save $100,000. Now you will notice when this top goes back when you put the top down, but you cannot get a look at the engine itself. But if you just hit this button right here, boom, the part of the top will go back to expose not a whole lot. You get to see a 3.0 GTS there, and just some where you can put the oil in, and a couple engine radiators right there. That is all you can do to get into the engine, and the top goes right there. So the engine, obviously this is a rear engine car. The engine itself is behind the rear axle, so you have the engine so far back, but this is all the business you're gonna get when you look to put the engine up. You can't really flex it, you know, your cars and coffees, but if you know, you know what this car is. So we're gonna put this button down, and just notice how quick that is. Boom, done. All right, so as I'm gonna say this, as far as design goes, it's the best. I think it's one of the best looking cars ever. Just the whole complete package of everything is beautifully done. All right, let's take a look at the interior. All right, let's check out the inside of the 911 GTS. Now these door handles are kind of interesting. They go flush mount when you're out on the road, but when you unlock the car, they sort of pop up. Now this car is very low. This is really one of the lowest cars I've been. I feel like you're sort of like sitting on the ground. Now one thing for the 22 model year, this sort of infotainment system has been updated to be sort of like the Taycan. Now it's kind of hard to see, but you do have a sort of curved piece of glass right there in the middle, flanked by 2 video screens right there, and your analog tachometer right there. Now you get the graphics there. There's in the middle there, it just says GTS. But I really like the 992 generation. I think was a big step up as far as the interior design from the 991. So you do have your vents right down there, and the owner calls this the Big Shaver gear selector. It's kind of aptly named. Now you do have one cup holder right here. I don't know how much, you know, you can actually take this thing out. That is an option from Porsche, and you can have sort of like a blank thing right there, but we're just gonna leave that right there. Porsches used to have some funky sort of cup holders over there. But this car does come with the Sport Chrono package right there. That sort of is one of the track type things that you can get as a package, a very expensive package. Now right here on the steering wheel, by the way, no Alcantara on the steering wheel. The owner was very happy about that. I think he's a hairdresser. I think he's always got stuff in his hand, but Alcantara picks up all the grease and stuff that you do not want to get on your expensive car's steering wheel. Now these seats feel very nice. I fit really nice in here. But yeah, there's no leather anywhere. There's Alcantara, or I forget what Porsche calls it, like Race Tex, I think it is. You can get carbon fiber up here, but this is just a sort of matte looking wood trim right there. Now this stuff right here is when the car is on, a bunch of different options come up there, but this is your front end lift right here, which he said is an excellent feature. There's your exhaust button. There is your 4 ways right there. There's your traction control off, and there you can mess with your suspension settings. There is your shift paddles, and he said that, I don't know if he really even uses them that much. You know, the PDK is so good as it is. It's just sort of not necessary. Now, all Porsches have their start button on the left-hand side right here, as opposed to every other car that has a button over here or right here. This is from the 50s when they got it into Le Mans racing, where you could run in the car, put it in gear with your right hand, and turn the car on with your left hand. So that is why that is right there. It still has a very satisfying click. So let's just talk about the infotainment screen right here. I like how it's sort of horizontally fixed right there. Now you got a bunch of different stuff. This was also updated for 22. You have your nav, your music. I think you have Apple CarPlay, Bose stereo, your phone stuff, Kevin's phone. Now drive mode, sport exhaust system. You're gonna put that on. Spoiler extend. You can do that whenever you want. But yeah, this is just a nice screen. It has the tiles like a bunch of other cars. There's your music, your map, your phone. Let's just look at the map real quick. I mean, you can zoom in and out. Not as fast as some others I drove, but who cares? I mean, it's a 911. So there, the screen quality of these screens on the other end of the tachometer are really nice. You just got everything right there, super nice pixels. It just looks really nice. Now you can go, let's see, if you hit the button there, you can go through a bunch of different things. Let's just look at the drive modes. You can go sport, normal, wet, sport plus, and individual. Now this car actually has a feature where if you press this button right there in the middle, it gives you sport response. It gives you a little bit more horsepower and torque for, as you can see, about 20 seconds. We're definitely gonna try that out just to say that we did. But yeah, this is a really nice material, or steering wheel. I like sort of like the negative space under there. This stalk sticks out, and then you have the exposed bolts right there. You can see right through it. That's kind of a cool touch. You have that on both sides. But yeah, this is Porsche quality. Everything feels first rate in here. You do have a fire extinguisher. Hopefully we're not going to get to use that today. You do have the Bose audio. I like the look of these switches right here. They feel very nice. But yeah, this is a very nice, intimate interior. Here's your buttons to put the top up and down. There's your heated seats. There's your parking button right there with the Bic shaver. And now there's the button you press to go into the manual mode. So this is pretty much a very nice place to be, and I hope it ought to be for the money you're spending, and I definitely think it is. Now you can go crazy with options on the interior too, all the stitching and colors. You can actually get leather on the vents right there. There's a nice GTS grip right there. We do have the red seat belts in the back as well. So let's just take a look at the back real quick. Now there is a lightweight package you can get for the 911 GTS where it'll completely delete the rear seat. So I have a little bit of my camera gear right there, but I guess you could fit something in there for a 3-year-old back there. I don't know if you want to keep your kids back there for too long, but there you can see these stripes on the rag top. That is something I've never done on a car review before, seeing these stripes on the soft top itself. So this is a really special car with really special performance and lineage. So let's wrap this video up and get it out on the road. All right, this is gonna wrap up my quick walk around of a 22 Porsche 911 GTS Cabriolet. Now, I can only think of one other car brand that would get me sort of as giddy and as excited as I am to get this thing on the road, and that would be Ferrari. Just been a fan of Italian cars my whole life, but this car is pretty much the perfect daily driver supercar. I will call it a supercar just of all the capabilities. 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. Tight suspension, brakes from the turbo. Lots of bits and bobs here from other Porsche cars that will make it just about the perfect 911. Now the GT3, the suspension would be way harder, just more track focused. This would be better as an everyday supercar, and we're gonna get it out on the road. I just sort of had to stop in the middle of my exhaust clip because there's some people around. I don't know how they're gonna feel about that. So if you like 911 reviews like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok and Instagram at GemmyD on cars. Here we go. I'm gonna pinch myself. We're gonna get to drive a 911 out in the road. So I will see you on the next one. Have a wonderful weekend. See ya.